question. How many of you are doing AI at your work? A bunch of you. How many of you personally are in charge of it? About half of you, okay. By the end of this, you'll all be in charge of it, so. Okay, so let's have some honest real talk, because we're amongst professional friends here. You know, your closest personal friends in the professional world. Who thinks AI is kind of stupid sometimes? Yes, thank you. I work in this space all day, every day, and I have for way too long. And I can tell you that everybody in my life says things like this to me. My sister, okay, she's the CFO of Harley Davidson. She has a real job. And she said to me last year, ChatGPT is stupid. And I said, why? And she said, it gives you stupid answers from Wikipedia. And I said, yes, because it's grounding in real data versus making things up. That's a good thing. It's by design. And she said, quote, I don't care about your boring thing. Like my boring thing is what we call AI in my household. Okay, that's fine, everything's okay. Then I realized, oh, your bought-in factor is really, really low in AI. We in the tech industry like to launch new things and then act like everyone's right there with us, right? Because we've been working on AI in tech for 40 years. This is not the first year that we've been working in this space. That concept of traditional AI, like, you know, do you remember all those memes, blueberry or chihuahua, legs or hot dog? That's been around a long, long time, right? So given that we've been on this journey, we didn't actually bring anyone else along on the journey. We just kind of sprung generative AI on people and said, how come you haven't adopted it? How come you haven't pivoted your business overnight? How come you haven't flung all of your usual methodologies into the air for this newfangled thing that works sometimes for certain scenarios? And we still don't actually know what those scenarios are. And we don't know what are good use cases, right? So I have come up with this AI bought-in factor scale. And I recommend that whenever you're starting a conversation with people, we just kind of benchmark. And this is probably common sense to all of you. But for software engineers like me, this was a new concept. Because usually, you don't call a software engineer till someone's already ready to do the thing, right? You call them when, oh, there's a bug to be fixed or a feature to be implemented. That's when you call devs. But most people in the world, a year ago, was kind of here at level 1, which is, it's hype. I think it's going to go away. I'm just going to hang out and wait for it to pass. How many of you felt that you were there a year ago? That's very, very normal. Yep, he was right there. So how many of you right now, in this day and age, feel that you're not sure AI is going to change your business, but you're willing to attend the event and see if it will or not? Yeah, few hands. Okay. Third one, you're like, AI is probably going to change my business, but I'm going to wait and see and wait for others to fail before I look stupid in front of people. Any takers on that? Okay. Yep, few. Yep. AI is going to change my business. I'm not sure how. I'm going to run experiments over here in the corner, and the ones that pass, I'm going to take credit for, and the ones that fail, I'm going to act like it never happened. Anyone in that category? Yep. That's me. And then fifth one, I'm all in. I'm ready to lead. I'm ready to look like a fool, but I want to be a leader. Got some takers? Yep. So the range is very, very split. And what's been interesting to me is I've been talking to audiences for about 3 years about generative AI. And I watched the average go to 3. The average used to be 1. It was actually 0. People are like, what's AI? Why are you here? And now it's at 3. People are like, I think it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. So the big question that I get all the time is this AI business nonsense or real? And the answer is yes. Okay? The answer is yes. Because you all know, it depends, right? So how do we know it's going to be around versus being another fad? Because we've been taken in by fads many, many times in the past. So let's have a little walk through history. Do you remember when Alexa was going to change the world? Yeah, we all remember these headlines, right? Amazon's the king of innovation, and Amazon people, I like you. I'm not making fun of you, because you'll see what I mean. It was supposed to change the world. We were going to say, Alexa everywhere. Fridges, cars, everything Alexa. Back in the day, this was a real thing that we were promised. But Segways also were going to change the world. Okay, Segways also. It says Segway was supposed to change the world. 2 decades later, it just might. Like, spoiler alert, I don't think so. Like, unless your job is literally a mall cop, really won't change your life. No, that's just true. That's just true. Or that guy at the airport who chases you for parking. Okay, so let's talk about this. NFTs. Does anyone know what this is? Can you explain it to me if you do? Because I don't know. Remember, this was the new hotness, those monkey stamps or whatever? And they sold for millions of dollars. And suddenly, we're like, wait, what happened to those stamps that people were selling? And then there's the thing that I spent many years of my life working on, which is mixed reality. Headsets. Headsets were going to change the world. We're going to wear them, we're going to drive around, going to walk through town, see the ratings on that restaurant, go in. We were going to look stupid on purpose. We were like really committed to this. This guy, he's driving in his Tesla, self-driving, while wearing a Vision Pro. This is what we call a Vision Bro, my friends. This is what we call a Vision Bro, okay? You wanna know what a Vision Bro is? It's this guy. He got arrested, thank God. So I tattooed this on my back. Both can be true. As a reminder that there is nuance. We live in a world where we don't believe in nuance anymore. Things have to be this or that, and it has to be true 100% of the time. Tech can be cool, but it does not necessarily have to be useful, right? Both can be true. So that's why we really can't have nice things, because we don't believe in nuance anymore. We're like, well, that didn't work, we should throw it out. Or this will work 100% of the time. And that's just not a factual thing. So let's talk about AI. Is AI any different? Now, I am a scientific animal. I don't like theory. And I really, really do not like feelings. Okay, I hate feelings. They stress me out. I don't like when people are like, I have a feeling. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that look like? Right? Where's my evidence? So I made a rubric, okay, a scale, let's say. And let's look at history at innovation that arrived. So, okay, iPhone showed up 2008. And right away we could see, all right, this seems easy to use. It's a little weird to have the screeny thing in your pocket, fine. It's a bit of a status symbol, whoever jumped on it first, even though it was expensive. But the App Store was the game changer for people. You actually took this static device and then suddenly it was able to become a boarding pass or a book or a cash register. None of us saw that coming. We're like, who thought you'd be carrying a cash register around in your pocket? Nobody. So the only con there was this luxury price tag, because it seemed like a lot. Like, who's going to spend $800 on a piece of glass that you carry around in your pocket when a Nokia flip phone was $100, right, if we remember back in the day. Second thing, this is me. I still show this picture because I truly believe that mixed reality was the future. I said, you know what? We're going to wear these devices. It's going to change the world. The pro was it's a cool demo tech. The cons is, well, we couldn't find a mainstream use case. Sure, it's like, oh, army, factory, this, that. But honestly, there's better ways to do this, a million better ways. The cost was extremely high. It's $3,000 for these things. And most importantly, you look like a fool, okay? And part of it is like, we as socially conditioned animals are not going to do something that outcasts us from people around us, right? We're just not going to look like a fool, no matter how convenient, air quotes, it might be, or how cool it might seem from a tech point of view. And then there's the Alexa, right? You're almost there, 3 out of 5. It's like so many consumer use cases. Play music, get groceries, set timer, et cetera, et cetera. Cost was pretty decent, but the form factor of yelling at a device, that's weird. It's just not natural, and you have to speak to it exactly right. You can't be too far away, you can't be here or there. And then it was very hard to build on. Like, sure, we have skills, but you don't see people having turned the Alexa into all sorts of interesting things that are mainstream. And then NFTs, we still haven't found a use case, 0 out of 5 on that one, okay? So when ChatGPT / Copilot / Gemini / Alexa Plus / whatever the thingamabob du jour is, it starts to look interesting, right? We're able to measure the rubric. We're able to say, okay, use cases for consumer and commercial showing up right away. Students like it, lawyers like it. Here are the extremes. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. My lawyer even said, this is not the worst. I'm like, okay, write that down. Quote, right? Cost is low. It's pretty much free for many, many, many options. It's incorporated into things we already use, like G Suite, Outlook, et cetera. We are pretty used to typing in a little box. We've trained ourselves to do that. Building on it is pretty easy if you're a developer. You don't look very stupid because no one knows what you're doing. But the big con is that prompting is hard and AI is often wrong. So the big con is something that we feel that maybe we can work with. So if you look at the history of rubrics and things that have been released, AI and iPhones have more in common than AI does with other kind of hacky, goofy things like mixed reality or NFTs. So given that scientifically we're like, I think this might stick around, but what we need are people building on it, with it, to make it truly useful for business. So what we need are people to ground in data, okay? Rather than just taking it out of the box for what it is. So why do we have so many issues with AI, right? Why is it always in the news? And partly because we're so tired of this. AI will take your job. How many of you really are sick of hearing this? Yes, I am so tired of hearing about it. What I'm more tired of hearing of is people with AI will take your job. I'm like, people with AI? We're all people with AI. Like, what are we talking about? It's like saying someone with spell check will take your job, right? It does not make any sense. Because honestly, we're acting like AI is this thing that we get to choose. We're like, no, folks, it's already in the products we use all the time. Sometimes we don't want it, but it's already there. So we are all people with AI. Someone is not going to come show up. I have AI skills. I'm here for your job. That's not a thing that's going to happen. But it's very much one of these things where we pivoted so fast in the industry. We go out there and we lay off a bunch of customer service people, and we're like, this AI chatbot's going to replace them. Of course, it ends horribly, and then we're very surprised and have to beg and plead for them to come back. And we've seen this over and over again, because we love to think that we're going to have an overnight transformational shift overnight. It's not going to happen. It's never happened. iPhone took, I think, 5 years for anyone to build something truly transformational on top of it. So who's heard of a thing called Cursor? Okay. So AI coding tool, right? So Cursor, a tech company, an AI company, they did the one thing you're not supposed to do with AI. They built a chatbot, AI chatbot. They did not disclose this as AI. They named it Sam. They jammed it on their website to answer all their customer questions. Predictably, this went horrible, right? So Sam started doing what AI does, which is making shit up. That's right. So Sam started making shit up, and it starts saying, oh no, you can only install Cursor on one device. People promptly cancel their subscription. Their CTO, C-something-O, has to go on Reddit, offer a big apology, and say, actually, we should have disclosed that Sam is a chatbot, and also B, maybe we should have tested it. We're like, ya think? AI company, right? So we're going to see more and more situations like this. And one of the reasons that people are so annoyed with AI is because we've made so many nonsense statements in the past. Now, usually I spend a lot of time making fun of Elon Musk, but today he's been quiet in the media, so I won't be as mean to him. But remember when he said we're going to have all self-driving cars in 2 years, like all cars will be self-driving? This was in like 2015, he said that. 2 years, all cars will be self-driving. Like it's 2025. I saw like 4 self-driving cars driving around DC, not all of them. And then people claimed, oh, all radiologists will be obsolete in 2 years. I don't know why people are coming for radiologist jobs, but apparently it was a thing. But yeah, last year, radiologists stuck in traffic that they drive themselves to work. Yep, it was a thing, right? We're really, really annoying about AI. We love to jam it where it does not belong. And we do. Do you know Lotus Notes has a chatbot? Why? It does, it really does. And no one knows why Lotus Notes has a chatbot, but it sure as heck does. And then we're also really creepy. We're like, humanoid robots are going to live in your house and wake you up from sleep so you don't die. We're like, don't do that, right? Don't do that. I'd like to volunteer for not that. So we're creepy, and this is why we kind of have to take a deep breath, and we're like, this is fine. We have to go through this nonsense hype cycle because we always have to do this. So there have been some wins with AI. One of the things that I found very interesting is that if we look back through history, we're on what I call our third rodeo. What is our third rodeo? Who remembers there was a time we had computers that didn't automatically connect to the internet? Okay. We used to have a device for all you youths. Ready? Youths, we used to have a device in our house. We used to dial on it, dial up, and it would make a noise. Who wants to make the noise for me? Okay, yeah. We had to dial up, then connect to the internet, receive our email, and then quickly hang up because someone's trying to make a call. Does anyone remember this was a thing? Yes. Youths are like, what are you saying? I'm like, I know. Is it like a mobile hotspot? I'm like, yes, let's just call it that and roll with it, right? Sure, it was a mobile hotspot. So when we made the transformation between apps that ran without internet connection to apps that ran with a constant connection, and they were cloud apps and mobile apps, that was a big freaking change. Everyone freaked. They're like, now I have apps all the time. I'm like, yes. And it's in my pocket, yes. Does anyone remember what the first mobile app was? Shazam. Isn't that weird? Shazam. The form factor was interesting because we couldn't have done it on a desktop. Shazam, the form factor was vertical, blue, big button, hold it up to the speaker, push the button. That's it. We're like, weird. It was some guy getting tired of everyone asking, hey, what's this song? And he said, you know what? I'm going to write an app for that. But it was one of the first mobile native apps. It showed what the power of mobile was, the power of cloud. And we haven't reached that with AI yet. That's why this feels weird. We haven't found the use case that is, we can't live without it, other than, the ChatGPT, Gemini, chatbot-y thing. Other than chatbots, we have not found a can live without use case. And that's why we're all like, I don't quite get it. Right? We don't quite get it. We're at exactly the right phase, because we're soon going to hit an inflection point where AI by design apps are going to start to appear. But they need all of you, business experts, to kind of lead us in that direction. So of course, so many non-tech people are solving issues, right? Like this woman uploaded her elderly parents' x-rays, got a good diagnosis. So many of us have this story. And then people are using it to be a thought partner. And I will always say the most useful use case for AI are to be a thought partner for the expert. Because you know when it's wrong, you know when it's right. It may give you some good ideas, but you ultimately are the expert. And then companies, of course, are finding exponential value. And these were interesting because you've got Amazon and Walmart and then Harvey, who are retail, and legal. And they're finding very different kinds of use cases. Amazon's use case I loved because ain't nobody liked to upgrade a coding framework from Java 16 to Java 17. And thank God for AI to do that for us, because I'll tell you as a dev, no one likes that, ever, 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 ever. That's the kind of menial manual labor we hate. So CEOs are starting to pay attention. And who saw this thing? The CEO of Shopify, right? He went out there and said, we are now an AI-first company. I don't think he said anything that offensive, but people freaked out. He said, learning AI is a mandatory part of your job. Well, we're a tech company, so that makes sense. It should be part of your prototyping process. We're like, that makes sense, you're Shopify. And third one is, before asking for headcount, explain why you can't use AI to do it. This is where the killer use cases will come from, because you're using it to do stuff that's annoying. And just like Shazam guy, you're going to say, this is annoying, I'm going to build a thing that's going to solve this. And those are the killer use cases for AI, not these nonsense nice-to-have things that we randomly introduce. And Murderbird, Duolingo, yes, they also have decided to become an AI-first company, and they're using it to do a lot of language things. Like they hear you say a word wrong, and then they help you say it, which is kind of helpful, because I can't use Duolingo even a little bit. That bird is threatening, though. Who agrees? It is a threatening bird. You haven't done your lesson today. We miss you. I'm like, you're like my mom. Stop. Like, I promise I'll do my Spanish lesson. So a lot of people are saying, does this actually affect me, though? And if it doesn't affect you yet, it will affect you. But it's not a fear-mongering thing, because AI jobs are on the rise. Right now, companies are going through rounds and rounds of layoffs, but the job postings that are coming out constantly, they all have AI in the title. It's been very interesting this time to watch how many AI job titles show up that are non-technical roles. It used to just be data science and AI engineer. Now we're seeing like AI marketing, AI sales, all of these things, which are kind of cool because people are realizing like, hey, we shouldn't just have nerds working on this. We should probably have people who know business in the space. They should be in the arena doing things. So what's been interesting was I've been looking at Upwork, and it's such a signal to what people are hiring for. And I like seeing AI content writers, ChatGPT coding tutors, marketing AI consultant. And you can choose AI writing tools as a skill in your Upwork profile. And I thought that was kind of cool, very interesting, because companies are realizing hiring a person who knows how to do the job using an AI tool is much better than hiring a person who has no idea what they're doing. So one of the things, this is a LinkedIn study. I would look up the study called Rise of the AI Power User. You can just look it up on LinkedIn. It's a very good article. It'll be very relevant to your customers. And I'll show you a screenshot from it earlier. But one thing that was interesting, this was a study of, I think, 30,000 organizations. And 71% of leaders said they're going to hire someone with AI skills over someone with decades of experience. Now, what's better is someone with experience and AI skills. So I say, why not both, right? Why not both? And the funny thing is, only 25% of companies, though, are saying they're going to provide AI training on the job. Now, I call nonsense on that. So I, of course, make people do interpretive dances of how AI and Copilot work. So I will legitimately go and make executives hold sign saying data, Copilot, and go show how it works. Because until people understand how the thing works, it's very hard to figure out how to use it unless you understand what are some of the pitfalls and some of the pros. So we all have to get a little more creative in how we train people to do AI, because the old school training of drop a training on them on a Monday and expect them to learn it, it's just not working, because adoption is not going well. So I want to show you this thing called the AI power user, which I believe all of you are, because all of you are level 3 and up on the bought-in scale. The AI power user, and this is all from that LinkedIn study that says Rise of the AI Power User. It's a year old, the study. But what they say is AI power users, all the way with the green. For colorblind folk, my apologies, it's all the way on the right over here. AI power users are the ones who are leading the way with AI for their specific job function. So they're saying, all of y'all are saying AI is going to take my job. I do not think so, and I'm going to prove it. So these are folks in marketing, creative, graphic design, et cetera. They're the ones going out there and saying, this is a good tool, this is a good scenario, and here's a good prompt. But it's that three-parter: identifying the tool, identifying the scenario, identifying the prompt or the thing you do with it, and then being able to teach others. Because they're the ones leading the way enough that upper management, customers, and clients are saying, I want you to work on my thing because you already understand this space and none of us have a clue. So this is where being bought in is good, because you're going to be able to transform your job first before going and trying to help other people transform theirs. Nobody knows your job the way you do. Nobody in the whole wide world. I, a tech person, cannot tell you what AI marketing will look like, and that's a good thing. Only a person in marketing will know that. So I'm going to show you an example of how we do this, okay? So I also, on the side, my business partner Jeremiah and I, we run 2 fashion companies. One is called Prima Donna Studios. We do women's dresses. The other one's called Towards Arcadia, men's shirts. So we launched Towards Arcadia recently, and we decided to be AI first about it. We're like, you know, let's drink our own champagne and see if this works or not. So we said, okay, let's make a checklist for where we can use AI. And let's just make a wish list, right? Where we could use some help. Let's prioritize the list and then pick a workflow. Basic. So let's go through it. Do it with me. And of course, this is where Devil Wears Prada memes come in, because obviously, right? So wish list of where AI can help. You know, operations, marketing, sales, sell stuff, finances, OpExes. I'm not a finance person. So we just kind of went through, made a list of things we need to think about. This is normal business stuff. Okay. Then it's prioritize. What is the most important thing that we want to use AI for? A lot of people like to use AI for things that are a little bit nonsensical. So even when you get ROI, you don't actually see the benefit. It's important to distribute your projects so you have some nonsensical, some important, and some impossible. Say, we've wanted to do this, but I think it's impossible. But go after it, because maybe it's possible. What's the ROI? We turned impossible into possible. That's a good ROI. But working on actual important projects is really good, and then working on some nonsensical ones as well. So what is Gen AI good for, right? And one of the things that I think that people forget are there are specific areas that having randomness and creativity and different answers is a good thing. But other things, financial projection, not as good of a thing. So people are trying to use AI for things where they need exact answers, but I actually think they should be using it for things where they need not exact answers. It's like bringing the creative to the table versus like the accountant. Not saying accountants are not creative. Sorry, accountants, please do not take my money and fire me. But it's so important to figure out what are the good use cases. And then if you're going to ground in data, make sure you have the data and make sure the data's good. A lot of people are grounding in data that's 35 years old, and they're wondering why they're getting bad things. Probably the #1 data issue I've seen is redundant data. They're like, every year we have forecast spreadsheets. Okay, tell us what the forecast will be. We're like, based on what? Last year? 10 years? 5 years? The 1 year with the weird spike? Like, make choices, right? So until you are able to get the data and say, this is good, we should not be using it to make decisions, because then you're going to get random. So it's important for anyone using AI to set some grounding principles. Ours, for our company and all my jobs, is AI does not touch the customer. No customer will engage with AI. They're just not going to do it, because I don't like random, and I don't want my customers to experience random. I don't want to be the cursor of fashion. No. They put the curse in cursor, okay? No, no, no. Won't do it. We always anonymize customer info. So we look at like person, size. Pretty much we just look at size and price. That's it. Where they live, who they are, blah, blah, blah. Don't know, don't care. And we're very transparent about where we use it. We don't use it to write to customers. We do use it for some design ideas, but that's about it. So things AI is good at: ideating lots of things, okay? Looking at different points of view. Tell me from someone who lives in Dubai if this would work for them or not. Different point of view. Simplifying complex things, like how can we simplify the shipping based on tariffs, based on this country and that shipping? I don't know. Repetitive tasks. Like, turns out we have to update the copy for everything on this website with the latest SKU numbers. That's AI's job. And then time-consuming tasks. So once we're able to identify AI is kind of good at, and then we're like, maybe AI is not so good at these other things, which are responses have to be 100% facts, like what's the price, what's the inventory, do not make that up. Up-to-date news and info, don't use it for that. Calculations to be precise, we know AI cannot do math at all. And expert knowledge to catch issues. Like, if you don't have expert knowledge, don't use it, go find someone with expert knowledge. So once we're able to do this, we have, yes, yet another formula. It's a multiply. So you just put a rating down, 1 to 5, next to each one. And then once you have a formula, you're like, let's start with operations. It's important, we have data, and we're able to tolerate a bit of creativity in here. So once we do it, we're like, let's make a workflow. So what is an operations workflow? You write down all the things. You're like, talk to people, create samples, where test the samples. Then you write down where you can use AI. Flip all of the you things. Try AI tools. I talk to customers, got all their feedback. I do that. But AI is really good at organizing it. It's good at saying, here's the good, here's the bad, here's the sentiment. Based on calls, I'm able to pull out sentiment from various conversations and say, they liked these, they didn't like that. Then it's really good to have AI identify, so what's the difference between us and these 5 fashion lines based on all of the feedback that we've gotten from customers? What are some language we can use when we're talking about our product? So you do the same thing with all of the steps, and my operations workflow is kind of very long. So it's like thinking about marketing, finding small batch factories, doing pattern making and design. But you can see that we can use AI for about 1/3 of the things that we're doing. And we used the exact same workflow last time. And a lot of these, it's a mix of tools. A lot of it is Copilot and ChatGPT, a mix of both. Those are the 2 that I tend to lean on over and over again, because Copilot's really good for internal data stuff, and ChatGPT is really good for, kind of the deep research and all of those things. So once I wrote all this down, I realized there's some areas that maybe we can AI in the future. But right now, it's good to just go through and say, I used AI for this step, 1 out of 3. It was 1, kind of crappy, don't do that. 2, almost there. Or 3, really good, do every time. But really rank them, and then look at it month over month. A lot of people try it once, and they say that didn't work, and then they move out and never do it again. But these tools are better every day, and new tools are showing up every day. So for your specific workflow, just choose a static workflow and try AI on it over and over again, because you're going to be able to really gauge the ROI of that workflow. A lot of people give up too soon. I think that's been the biggest issue I've seen. They were like, tried once, didn't work, moved on. We're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to finish the experiment, right? You got to run it over a span of time. So once you do this, then you're going to start realizing, okay, cool, here are the prompts that work, and you're going to create your own prompt library. So just some of mine, these are extremely basic. Find me 5 sustainable garment manufacturing facilities 50 miles near Seattle. 2 years ago when I did this didn't work at all. Now I got 5 back, I'd never heard of them. I'm like, okay, interesting, and they were real ones. Then was, if we want to design men's shirt with one of these textiles for summer in Italy, what would we choose? And it actually chose ones I wouldn't have thought of. That was interesting. And then this is our signature men's line. What are some major differentiators that we can use in our marketing copy? And then you can go give it links of 10 other men's fashion lines and ask for differentiators in language. So these are all things that I did not think were going to work, and they oddly worked, and I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised. So with AI as the co-pilot, as our AI friend, we were ready to launch in 1/3 of the time that we did with our women's. Launching the women's took 1.5 years. Launching this took half a year. That was interesting. We got to see that for ourselves. And then I became a believer. That's when I became a believer. I had to do it myself. No matter all the stories and the ROI and case studies and all the land, I didn't believe it until I was able to do it myself. This is why it's so, so important for you personally to have your own workflow and be able to be a scientist about the whole process rather than trusting the judgment of others. You have to be the AI power user of your own life, because then you can authentically tell the story. But please do remember that every single one of you are already probably the AI expert of your business or company. And because you're doing it early, you're the one that people are already going to think of in your space. And you're the one everyone's going to go to. And you're building yourself a career that's going to last the next 10, 20, 30 years. So executives, how many of you are C-suite type people? Yup, guess what? You have extra homework. extra homework. AI adoption does not work grassroots. It just does not, because there's a lot of privacy and tools and this and that. It has to be adopted top-down. And if you work in an organization where they're not bought in, you've got to side hustle it. Like, that is the only solution I can think of, but don't let your company hold you back. So it has to be top-down. Yeah, C-suite folk, you have to have a metric on AI adoption or AI build. Like, one of these have to be true. You need a metric around it. Demo days every 2 weeks, but the C-suite have to go first. This worked at Microsoft. I watched it happen across the board, where the exec went first, adoption happened. Exec didn't go first, it was the same nerd over and over demoing every Friday. Internal prompt library for each business unit. This one was really important. And then rewards for best AI usage. One of the things that no one expected were people hide their AI usage. In surveys, about 80% of people say, yeah, I use it for work. But when confessing, they're like, nah, I don't use it at all. Because they're afraid of looking lazy or replaceable, and they don't want more work. So it's so important to have this be a rewarded thing rather than something that's punishable, right? And right now, it's a mindset we're gonna have to shift, because people are saying, if I didn't do the work and spending hours, then why would people think I am smart? We're like, my friends, it's the calculator, right? It's the calculator. No one's giving you props for doing math by hand compared to using a calculator. So what's next? There's 3 things, and I think it's gonna be interesting for all of you. The first one, AI search results. Who has seen ads in AI search results? Oh yeah, it's coming. You're gonna see ads, and you're gonna start seeing people game the system, okay? So how do you do organic AI results? How do you have your business, your name, the results you want, showing up in AI results? ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, do not care. They're all gonna be doing this. It's gonna be like SEO on drugs, okay? So what's the hack here? What's the hack? You go look up the thing, say, who are the top 10 consultants in the nonprofit space in Washington, DC? And then say, cite sources. What are the sources? Is it some Time Out article? Is it a magazine? Where is it getting this information from? And then how do you get into the source? So it's a big reverse engineering activity, because you are going to want to be seen in results. And this is a thing that we are not focusing on enough, but this will become a humongous fire drill this year and next year. So you just gotta prepare yourself for more SEO. How many of you are SEO people? Yeah, guess what? You're gonna be employed forever, because you're gonna have to learn what I'm calling LLMRO, LLM results optimization, right? It's going to be a thing. We are actually working on a framework for how to do it, just based on our businesses, because this will be such a topic. And I want to figure out how to do it without having to pay for it, because it's going to be expensive. Second thing, AI is going to represent your personal and company brand. So your AI chatbot, if you choose to use it in the world, are going to represent. We're going to now need to figure out how to publish your content in a way that AI crawlers can scrape it. So a multi-step website with lots of clicks? Nope, AI doesn't like that. Instead, one big site with a markdown copy button, AI likes that. But how do you do it? I don't know. Tons of experiments. No one actually knows. But if you're a player in the game early, you define it. You get to set the defaults of this industry. A lot of people are waiting for some nerd in Silicon Valley to do it. No, don't. They don't know anything. I say that as someone who does this. They don't know anything. We don't know anything. You all have to set the defaults. And the third thing that's been really interesting is companies are creating and red teaming, AKA testing, their own prompt libraries. So I want to share with you this prompt from my legal friends. It's a law firm in the UK called Burgess Salmon. I think they're an AI company disguised as a legal company, because they did adoption a year and a half ago. And look at their prompts. I recommend you take a picture of this prompt. And what you can do is just upload it to any AI product and say extract text and reuse it. But look at how detailed this is. That's good. They use this all the time. They use it constantly. But they taught me this prompt in being able to kind of fill in the blank on your job roles. And this is the kind of thing that you only get to with, guess what? Workflows, trial and error, doing the thing over and over and over again. So what I recommend all of you do is homework, obviously. There's always homework. The first one is just keep an eye on history, right? Look at history. In textiles, a long time ago, we used to weave fabric by hand. Long, long time ago. And when the weaving machine came to town in the UK, Ned Ludd led a whole posse of his people and said, no, this weaving machine's going to take our jobs, so we're going to go burn it down. So exactly the most predictable thing happened, which was he got arrested. Okay, then the new weaving machine showed up and took everyone's jobs. And the people who learned to adapt had new jobs as dressmakers and seamstresses because they learned to use the weaving machine. It's so important to not be a Luddite named after Ned Ludd. None of you are Luddites because all of you are here at a conference on a Wednesday morning. But keep an eye on people in your life who are and help guide them along the way by showing them the workflow that works for them. Telling them, no, AI is going to work for you, use it. They have to figure it out for themselves, just like I did, just like all of you did. And then my sister Vani, right, let her be a lesson. So this is us with her son, who just turned 6, very, very cute, by the way. And a year later, she said, went from your ChatGPT, which, by the way, that's not what it's called, is stupid, to she now realizes, oh, we have comms all over the company, and we have so many press releases out there. Why don't we generate the next set of press releases based on the current data, the existing press releases? I'm like, oh, did you ground in your own data and make your own workflow? She's like, yes, I did. And I said it in that tone too, just like that. But if the CFO of Harley-Davidson can figure it out after swearing they're never going to use AI in their business, sure as heck, every single traditional business is going to start to shift. So I have a homework for you. I want everyone to take a picture of this slide. I want you to identify where you are right now, just to yourself. If you're at a level 1, I would like you to decide by, we're in mid-May now, May, June, July. By July mid, or by August mid, choose, whatever. I would love for you to move up 1 level. Okay? Because when you set a challenge for yourself, that's when quantum leaps and bounds happen. So a lot of people are stuck on this part. And I just put Microsoft Copilot. You can use whatever product you want. You can use Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever thing you want to use. But use one. Don't go use 10 of them. A lot of people are trying to adopt 10 pieces of tech at the same time. So the big leap that goes from casually using a product to being able to extend it with data, right? That is the kind of leap that people are stuck on. They're like, yeah, I know how to casually use a product just out of the box, but how do I use my own data? That's when you use an enterprise-grade product. So like Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, enterprise version. Do not use the free version on work data. If you're going to do something that's kind of, it doesn't matter if your data is used to train models, that's fine. For me, that's my writing, because it's already out there in the public domain, so it's fine. You can train on it, don't care. What you should do is create your own customer GPTs and things like that. Ground in your own data to understand that AI products will sometimes use your data correctly and sometimes won't use it correctly. But how do you mess around with prompts? And how do you mess around with the data you're actually grounding on to make it really, really good, to give you the answers you need? But making that leap from being a user of an inbox product to using a product that's grounded in your own data has been the game changer for companies this year. It went from just getting your hands on the product to now using it for your context and your data. So I challenge you to this exercise, and I am very, very excited to follow up with you to see if you did your homework. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful day.